Hi, I'm David Ezekiel, transitional pastor for the First Federated Church of Peoria. Welcome to our midweek moment. Do you have time for an Easter story? The Reverend Harry H. Pritchett, Jr., who was once the dean of the Cathedral of St. John the Divine in New York City, tells a great personal story. As a word of warning, you may want to have Kleenex nearby. Reverend Pritchett tells his story this way. Once upon a time, I had a young friend named Philip. Philip was born with Down's syndrome. He was a pleasant child, happy it seemed, but increasingly aware of the difference between himself and other children. Philip went to Sunday school at the Methodist Church, and his teacher, also a friend of mine, taught the third grade class with Philip and 9 other 8-year-old boys and girls. Well, you know how 8-year-olds can be. Philip, because of his differences, was not readily accepted. But my teacher friend was creative, and he helped the group of 8-year-olds, and they learned and they laughed and they played together, and they really cared about one another, even though 8-year-olds don't say they care about each other out loud. My teacher friend could see it, he knew it, and he also knew that Philip was not really a part of that group. Philip did not choose, nor did he want to be different. He just was. And that was just the way things were. My friend had a marvelous idea for his class the Sunday after Easter last year. You remember those things that pantyhose used to come in, those containers that looked like big eggs. Well, my friend, Reverend Pritchett says, collected 10 of them. The children loved it when he brought them into the room, and each child was to get one. It was a beautiful spring day, and the assignment was for each child to go outside, find a symbol for new life, put it into the egg, and bring it back to the classroom. They would then open and share their new life symbols and surprises, one by one. It was glorious. It was confusing. It was wild. They ran all around the church grounds, gathering their symbols, and returned to the classroom. They put all the eggs on a table, and then the teacher began to open them. All the children stood around the table. He opened one, and there was a flower, and they all oohed and awed. He opened another, and there was a little butterfly. Beautiful, they said. He opened another, and there was a rock. And as third graders will, some laughed, and some said, "That's crazy. How's a rock supposed to be like new life?" But the smart little boy who had found it spoke up, "Well, that's mine, and I knew all of you would get flowers and buds and leaves and butterflies and stuff like that, so I got a rock because I wanted to be different, and for me, that's new life." And they all laughed. My teacher friend said something to himself about the profundity of 8-year-olds and went on and opened the next one. There was nothing there. The other children, as 8-year-olds will say, "That's not fair. That's stupid. Somebody didn't do it right." Then my teacher friend felt a tug on his shirt, and he looked down, and Philip was standing beside him. "It's mine," Philip said. "It's mine." And the children said, "You don't ever do things right, Philip. There's nothing there." "I did so do it," Philip said. "I did do it. It's empty. The tomb is empty." There was silence. A very full silence after that. And for you people who don't believe in miracles, I want to tell you that one happened that day last spring. From that time on, it was different. Philip suddenly became a part of that group of 8-year-old children. They took him in. He was set free from the tomb of his differentness. Well, Philip died last summer. His family had known since the time he was born that he wouldn't live out a full lifespan, and many other things had been wrong with him and his tiny body. And so, late last July, with an infection that most normal children could have quickly shrugged off, Philip died. The mystery simply enveloped him. At the funeral, 9 8-year-old children marched up to the altar, but not with flowers to cover the stark reality of death. 9 8-year-olds, with their Sunday school teacher, marched right up to that altar and laid on it an empty egg, an empty, old, discarded pantyhose egg. What a great symbol and a great story about new life for everyone. Happy Easter to you. I'm David Ezekiel. Thank you for sharing this midweek moment with me.